everybody, and welcome Paranormal Nation Radio, Not So Normal. How's Denise and Ron doing tonight?
I think we're good.
Doing good.
Good.
Long weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys did have a long weekend, so everything went good at the wedding?
Yep.
Real good.
We had, it was really strange after or before the wedding. No, it was after the wedding part. We were standing outside having some treats, and this lady walked up to me and she said, my daughter, my sister, she talked to you at this party that we went to, and she goes, she was really impressed with you, and her daughter wanted me to meet you, and I don't remember her name, and I, because I thought, when I was talking, I said I was talking to the lady about her husband who died at the party, and she was talking about the daughter. Apparently the daughter was having a hard time with her dad dying. And of course, in my mind, I'm still thinking, not knowing that I had really talked to the girl very much, but the girl was just so excited for me to have told her something about her dad, because they had been to so many mediums and they kept connecting with her grandmother who had passed, and all these people other than, all these old people. And she goes, and I didn't know my grandmother, and blah, 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 all kinds of things. So I was the only one that ever told them anything about their father, or her husband. Because every time they went to a medium, that's who they were hoping to come through. And when I came to the party, I told Ron, I said, I'm feeling really bad, like there's something messing with my heart, whatever. And it was a man. And so I told Karen, I had to walk away. I told Karen, and she goes, well, the lady in the kitchen, her husband died from heart attack in December.
Right.
And I said, well, he's pretty pissed that she's spending all his money. And, and the lady admitted she'd been spending a lot of money. But the thing is, the sister aunt came to me and said, I had to meet you because you got them to stop spending money on mediums.
That's good.
So
I mean, there's a lot of them out there charging way too high priced
for something you can't prove.
Exactly.
And so tonight we have a lovely guest. We've had her on before. Farah Rose. She is one of my favorite people in the whole world. And I wanted to have her on here again because, it is haunted season, but there's things that people need to be aware of. And Farah is the best person to tell you what you want. Well, not what you want to hear. Let's say that. She's not going to tell you what you want to hear. She's going to tell you what you need to hear. So I'd like to welcome Farah Rose to Paranormal Nation Radio, Not So Normal.
Oh, thank you so much for the invite. You know what, Denise, you're one of my favorite people too. And I can't wait to see you guys again. The last time I saw you was at my wedding. What's wrong with this picture? Either I have to get up there or you have to get down here.
No, we're been coming down, first part of December.
Well, that was the Springfield.
Yeah, Springfield.
Yeah, but she's not in Springfield.
I know that.
Well, nice to see you, Carl. Hi.
Nice seeing you, Farah. I haven't seen you for a long time. You're looking
long time.
great
It's been
tonight.
like a year. Yeah, it's been forever.
Yes.
Yeah, I just don't want you driving around too much until you get to feeling better.
How are you?
I can't talk about that too much, but you're right. I have to kind of limit my time on trips right now, but that's okay because, I have I have a great driver. My husband, he's my gallant, driving Miss Farah, my handsome younger husband. But how are you guys doing tonight? Thank you so much for inviting me during this really crazy season we've got going on.
I'd like to welcome Athena to the chat room.
Yeah.
Hi, Athena.
It's been so long since I've seen her name.
I know. Well,
You know,
Athena's.
she's wonderful. So
Yes.
I was telling some people, that it's going to feel like old home week to me because I'm having you on tonight, and on Monday I'm having Mike Norton on.
Oh my gosh! Wow, that's crazy. I might have to pop in and say hi to him. I haven't talked to him in forever too.
Well, this is the first time I could really ever have him on because he's in Florida right now as opposed to California. So
Did he move there?
No.
Oh.
He's got to go. He's waiting. He had a mishap in Louisiana.
Ooh.
And they need a vehicle. So he's staying there. It's cheaper to get it fixed in Florida than it is to have it taken back to California. So, and they didn't total it, so they kind of have to get it fixed. So he can go home. He's been there since the end of August.
Wow.
So needless to say, time zone wise, he's in the perfect place for me to actually get a chance to interview him.
I agree.
So usually he's stuck in traffic when my show starts. So,
yes. Or he's traveling here or there. You cannot nail that boy down.
No. And so he might even be in here, in the chat tonight because I told him you were going to be on.
Oh, fabulous.
And, talking about spiritual warfare, and what people don't realize, Farah and Ken, her let's see, she's widowed. So
yes.
Ken was a good friend of ours.
I didn't murder him.
No, he did not. He did it himself. And not the way you think. He did not commit suicide. He just wouldn't go to
No, he didn't do that.
No, he just wouldn't go to the doctor.
Exactly.
So that was it. So if you think you're sick, go to the damn doctor.
Please go to the bloody doctor.
Right.
So
and talking about Ken, I want to tell Farah something real quick.
Yeah.
Okay, this is called Paranormal Nation Radio. If you go
Thank
back,
you so much for having me.
I know, but if you go back to when you and Ken were doing shows, I think about the third show from the end when you guys were doing shows, Ken said something about Paranormal Nation.
Yeah.
In that show. That's how I came up with the name for this radio show.
Wow. That's I
told Denise that here about a week or two ago.
Sweet.
And everything. I was listening to that show and he said something. They was talking paranormal like you guys do.
Yeah.
And he said something about getting Paranormal Nation going like that. And I went,
what a great idea. I'm so glad.
Name.
I'm so glad you flew with it, Carl. That's killer.
I just wanted to tell you that because
thank you. Thank
problem.
you.
So what people may not know is that I was a guest on The Real Deals and Demonology Today quite frequently.
Yes.
With I guess I don't know what I was on there.
Can we say you're a who's it, that's it, there you were, and we want to hear about that person.
Yeah. And well, the thing is it was an honor to be asked as often as I was, and I loved it. And I remember sitting there and, thinking about all those things. But this is Old Home Week because it was me and you and Mike Norton and Ken and some other people who have that we've loved that have passed.
Yeah.
And we're not going to go through all of them. We don't want
No. Let's get, as much as, we can have the happy homie handshakes. It's like people probably want to hear about what we need to talk about regarding the season that we're about to enter of Samhain and the priests of all the darkness coming out and, the ritual sacrifices of animals going on, small children going missing, people being specifically, just ritualistically raped and dumped and that sort of thing that goes on this time of year in regards to the season we're about to enter before Christmas Holy Week starts in the middle of December or middle of November. It's going to be pretty crazy for people this year. It's darker than I've seen it in many years, Denise.
Yeah.
It's because there's a rampant, gonna say it, rampant crap going on in our main government.
Oh, yes. And the government,
most of
it's around the world too.
And yeah, it's everywhere. It's not just here. It's all the governments.
Sorry about that. I didn't mean to bump my camera. To take it one step further, Denise, it's just beyond. If you think about, we were talking about with disease and illness and health and that sort of thing. I'm sorry, my camera's so wonky. I keep kicking it. I apologize. Your health, your and my health, like our physical health, like, what we're going on a lot of times is a direct inner mirror of our spiritual health. And what do I mean by spiritual health? I mean by the thoughts. Some people believe in karma. Some people believe in, positivity. What we think, what we believe, that is what our physical being ends up being. Now, granted, I didn't ask for heart disease. I didn't ask for, a heart mitral valve prolapse that doesn't work. I didn't ask for that. Now, it's not what I'm talking about. But what I'm talking about is specific conditions that we and that's what our government is. Our government, what we have and what we're seeing going on right now in our world, the basic takedown of our main freedoms of the Constitution, of, Roe versus Wade being so hotly contested, of all these things that are just clashing like chaos in our world, that is the spiritual growth of a nation in crisis. And this is just a reverberation of all the states in Europe are so much worse. If only America could get online and see what other countries are going through. We think we have it bad here. We don't have jack bad here. We are spoon-fed, mollycoddled, little, well-diapered, toddled babies. People in Europe, they're dying, they're starving, they're scraping. They don't have heat to fuel their homes. They don't have fuel to get to their jobs. They don't even know if they're going to have a job. And we cry about, well, chicken prices just went up 30 cents and I got to get more gas. It's mind blowing. And this is the same in the spiritual world. We think that, we're also content saying, yeah, I said my prayers, I love my God. I do my thing and being a good person to my neighbor. But, why don't I have more? Why don't I have a Porsche? Why don't I have a Rolls Royce? Why don't I have this? And the spiritual condition of this nation is sadly, when we ignore those things that are so important and such a priority to maintaining our health, the disease runs rampant. And then all of a sudden you got this cancer like we've got right now going on.
Yep. And a lot, you wonder what can fix it?
Well, see, Denise, that's an interesting question. What can fix it? All right. Because we're talking about spiritual warfare. We're talking about, the demonic cracks that are going on everywhere, and the vortexes everywhere from Bermuda to Arizona to France to Italy to Russia. And what do I mean by a vortex of demonic energy? What I mean is I believe we're in a time of, a lot of people, if you don't believe in the Bible, that's totally okay. It believes in you. If you don't believe in demons, I don't care. They believe in you. We're going through a period right now of revelations where seals are cracking everywhere. What do I mean by seals? I mean that where I'm at in Missouri, all right, there is a fault line that runs through with a, it's a geomagnetic, it's pulled by the other fault lines that are on the Pacific Rim. And what does that mean in terms of demonic seals that are being broken? I mean that when this place was created, this fabulous, beautiful earth that we live on was created, in all goodness, love, and charity. When it was rejected, all these little nasty little rugrats were let loose that we call demons, and they caused chaos. And they were given specific domains over states, over boundaries, over chunks of land, and over these cracks in the earth that are under the ocean, above, below, and in the air. And right now, it's almost as if, what a pot boils over and you got all that foam and everything everywhere. We have got these pots foaming of demons in different places in the world right now that we're not getting news on. We're not getting accurate anybody talking about right now. If anybody talks about it, you're kicked off YouTube. You're kicked off. You can't talk about this stuff. And I'm talking about, people see, nobody's talking about demons running the street. Okay, if a demon is a preternatural creature, and a human being is a physical creature, what you're seeing is the preternatural infecting the natural to an extent that people are looking mentally ill. People are looking crazy. People are looking angry. They're being hateful. That's demonic influence. And that's what I'm seeing, Denise and Carl, everywhere. Pockets of disruption where people are so hateful that you just, what's wrong? That's the cracks of revelation I'm seeing right now in just about every nation. And it's really sad. From the highest levels of religiosity to the lowest levels of the barrios, of the pits of, of poorness, where, oh my gosh, Australia, the pygmies, oh my, these people that have no money, no real language or anything else, they're experiencing it too. It's horrible. How do we fix it, Denise?
No, well, it was God fixed it once with a flood.
That's what I'm thinking. Is it time? Are we going to have another? I'll gladly hang out with Noah on deck and knock a few back and go, let's let him go.
I think where we're at, it's more of a drought.
I know we're gonna be in the deserts with the lizards, guys.
Yeah. Well, you should be getting some rain here anytime soon if you haven't already.
Actually, we've gotten more rain in the last 12 hours than I've probably seen in the last 6 months.
Oh yeah.
And I'm south of you, just above the border of Arkansas. And I'm kind of like in the Midwest, but I'm in that still Gulf Stream there to where, I should be getting the Gulf winds and stuff. But I think with the recent hurricane and everything, our weather's, I don't know if any of you guys are weather watchers, but I belong to NOAA. I was a NOAA watcher from up in Michigan, that watches the weather patterns, the sunbursts, cloudbursts, that sort of thing. The weather patterns are such this year that they don't know what's going to happen here for us in the Midwest. Speaking to the direct relation of how much snow we're going to get, how much ice we're going to get, they have not seen such strong weather patterns as per recording. Does that mean it's going to be bad or good? I don't know. All the animals are acting like we're going to have more snow than we've seen in probably decades. Now, is that
I've noticed up here, the squirrels, we live in a small town up here.
Mm-hmm.
Man, the squirrels are going crazy. They're even burying their nuts in our yard.
Oh, yeah.
Their nests are full. I seen one put one on top of a light pole out here the other day. I'm like, it's going to wind's going to blow it over.
We all love nuts, and we like to know where to find them.
Well, the thing is I'm sitting here going, all the squirrels are nutting, and this is like, it's just not the right thing to say.
I watch the animals too on the weather.
I do too. That's how I know what's going on. And when you see a squirrel hoarding nuts like that, it's like, okay, usually they will build multiple leaf nests. And they will dig looking for the nuts from last year. But when you see them burying them, I would say get a little more extra wood, get a little bit more oil so that you're ready for a blackout. Make sure that you've got your sternos and alternate ways to heat a small room. Have your curtains ready so that you can section off rooms with curtains so you can keep that one room warm where everybody sleeps. Just be ready, be prepared. Just common grandma sense,
Oh, yeah, you got to have common sense out here to be prepared.
You'd be surprised, Carl.
I know. I see a lot of people.
We're not surprised anymore.
No, we're not.
The way of the dinosaur, it's gone in a lot of places.
Common sense disappeared when the smartphones appeared.
My God.
You ask me.
Yeah, I think it was long time ago.
And
the smartphones didn't make anyone smarter, that's for sure.
No.
But there you go. Athena wants you to know that she's left Las Vegas and she's moved back to North Carolina.
Oh, thank God. Las Vegas, Sin City. Let's even talk about principalities and powers. I don't know if anybody's familiar with Stephen King. He wrote this cute little book about the Stand and how Las Vegas was going to be a stand because of all the legal immorality there. It's not far off, but if you think about how long ago that was written, 20, 30 years ago, and you think about, and hi, Athena, I'm glad you got out of there and you went to New York. When you think about the immorality and how he infected everything. I mean, there's now, either massage parlors are legal, brothels are legal, drugs are legal. Everything that grew in that little diseased chancre has just spread. Look at Portland, Oregon was a staging for Antifa and ISIS and all that demonic nonsense. And it's just infected everything. I mean, if that isn't demonic, I don't know what is. How can you, like Ron was saying, you have a smartphone that has just infected your brain to think that you don't need to think. You don't need to look up how to spell something. You don't need to research what something means. Just hold your smartphone.
Just Google it.
Mm-hmm. Made everybody lazy.
Well, we're going to tell you, don't use Google. Use DuckDuckGo.
Go.
Yep. That's where I'm at.
Never use Google.
Never.
So DuckDuckGo don't track you. So
no,
that's an advertisement for today. So in our case, we only have one child still living in Las Vegas. The other one's moved to Florida.
Yep. In August. Got out.
Thank God.
Got out while the getting was good.
Yes.
I know, right?
A long story about that.
Housing market went south.
Oh, yes.
Quick.
Yep. They're trying to sell. My daughter sold. They sold their house before they moved. Okay.
Yeah, there's no water either.
You're right.
There's no water.
Oh my gosh. Speaking of water, have you guys seen that huge lake? How far down is it?
Lake Mead.
Lake Mead.
Oh
my gosh.
That thing's been shrinking ever since we've been going there.
Yeah. And
it's bad.
They've actually gotten more rain than they've ever gotten. They've been getting a lot of rain out there. So hopefully.
So where's the water going? You know? California. Where is the water? Exactly.
California,
Arizona, Colorado, New Mexico. When I lived in Michigan, I lived on Lake Huron, which, Michigan is a big hand. Lake Huron is right here in, the top. There were talks with Pure Michigan, with the Department of Conservation, everything else. They were going to be selling water from Michigan and piping it down to the Southwest. Selling water from the Great Lakes.
Well, crazy. This has been a really rainy year for Arizona and Nevada.
Makes you wonder.
Well, cyclical weather.
Obviously, California's not heard of desalinization, so that's out.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Oh, and
call Saudi and see what they do.
That's like when you were talking about Europe.
Yes,
they've already told them they're going to have brownouts this year.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and that's just it. A couple of people that I know in England and in Belgium, the guy just left, a friend of mine left the Ukraine and went to Brazil, said that they are preparing for food lines. They are preparing for rations in petrol, fuel.
Oh, yeah.
In other words, you're not going to be able to get it, except on certain days. And if you have, the right number, you're going to have to wait. So they're going to be looking at rationing on a lot of levels that America doesn't even know about, and that we could go to too if these pipelines remain shut down. Right. People think, $5, $6, $7 the pump is bad right now, which I'm sure your daughter in Las Vegas is hearing about from California on over. But yeah, it's probably going to get a lot worse before it gets any better, you guys.
The highest gas prices we saw the last time we went to Vegas was in Arizona.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was worse there than it was where we were. But in Vegas, you could go one street corner. It was $1 less than it was at the next street corner.
Isn't that crazy?
And so it's like, it's a roll of the dice. Where
it depends on where they got it and who they bought it from, right?
Right. And, I'm big at not buying gas from Venezuela.
Oh, me too. Me too. We shouldn't be buying gas from anybody right now. We ought to be using our own reserves. Right. But that's my opinion.
We got an idiot running the country and the whole administration are dumb as a rock.
So, it is what it is. But we as a nation need to get out and vote.
Well, it's not just vote. All right. We need to go take our brain cells and stand at the polling booths as people are voting, take pictures of the votes, and then we need to stand there and watch those votes get counted. That's the problem. And that's where, that's where the majority of voter fraud happens, is that A, the ballots don't make it in the box, so they don't get counted. B, the ballots are being looked at by people who are prejudiced as to what they're seeing, so they're being pitched out. And C, you have drivers and people in charge of those ballots that don't want them counted. And my family being military can tell you military votes are often, the whole bags will be pitched and coming over. Yep. So I think that's a problem. It's wonderful we can get out and vote, but it's awfully frustrating when they're not getting counted.
Well, who do you the people in the military that are voting? Why do you think those are thrown out? The majority of those, a high majority of those, I know how they're voting.
Exactly, and they're voting for a stronger military because if anybody in the audience is familiar with military pay grades, you're literally, when I was growing up in the military, one person worked and everybody got put through college and everybody had savings and everything else. Now, because of inflation and because tax and everything else, realize they can get more from you if a woman's in the workforce. These military people are being taxed to death. They're not making enough money. They're literally on the edge of poverty. They're hardly ever able to feed their families, so they're taking second jobs. So they are voting to try and get somebody to protect their pay, ensure their benefits, and make sure that their housing stays reasonable so they can afford to take care of their families.
A lot of them are in debt.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because they're moved around so much that they never catch up from the last move before they're moving them again.
Right.
Even if they have government housing, government moving, and my cousin April might pop in here and tell us more. On that part, they say that we're going to cover you to move.
Yep.
They don't cover it. They cover part of it.
They've always done that.
And it's wrong.
Oh, they cap you off. They cap you off. They say you should only weigh this much. You should only have this much. I know, right?
Yeah.
Well, Ron's dad, when he got out of the military from World War II, what did they give him? $18 to get home from California?
Oh, my gosh.
That was to get home to Arkansas from California.
Well, I guess the reasoning was, you don't have to go back to Arkansas, do you? You can.
Well,
you're like, once you're out and you're off that base, you're on your own.
Yeah, you can go to Southern Cal.
And no, here's what they were saying: you don't got to go home, but you just got to go.
No, you just here's your bus ticket. Just go somewhere. Where do you Oh my gosh!
Yeah, I was gonna say I know how most of the military is voting, and that's why I know they're tossed out. Because when I was in the military, I never met one liberal. Not one.
No.
Nowhere.
Oh, but they weren't given free
Nowhere.
sex.
And I went to a lot of different bases. Nobody.
They weren't given free sex changes back then.
No.
But just like Farah was talking about the demons earlier, you look at how many demons are going to be around these polls and in charge of our election.
That's a good point you make, Carl, because we call it demonic delusion in cases and casework and case study. You might be talking to the most wonderful, nice people at the polls who seem that they're just so friendly and so honest. And the minute you turn their back, they don't like what you said. They'll pitch ballot out and nobody knows. And is that just prejudice and mean-spirited humanity, or is that demonically influenced? I believe it's demonically influenced. Because we as humans, our human nature is a sense of fairness. Our human nature is a sense of balance. And our human nature seeks the other person's good if we are who we were created to be. However, it gets unbalanced when we listen to too much negativity. Like, I don't want to use CNN as an example, but they're a classic example of news that is blatantly, found out to set up things to make people be brainwashed to believe things aren't there. That's demonic. Yeah. And that's exactly how the demonics work. They want you to believe a certain way, so you will react in a negative, creatively destructive way behind somebody else's back, and they'll never guess.
So I will tell you, if you want to be part, not only vote, be part of the solution. Become a poll watcher.
Yeah.
Become a poll worker.
Yes.
We were poll workers, election officials for the state of Kansas.
It's
last couple of years.
It's almost impossible in the state of Kansas, the way it's set up.
They can't.
When Chris
cheat.
Kobach was running, he did a lot of stuff. Our Secretary of State, you can't hardly cheat in this state. Now, if all the other states were run like ours, we'd have an honest election. We got certain states, they're not doing it the right way.
Yeah, they're not accounting.
They're doing whatever the hell they want.
You got to look at these states they call
them the
so-called
That's what we call
important states during election. That's where the majority of your fraud goes on. Because what is it now with the electoral votes? Isn't it 13 or 17 states? If you can get their electoral votes, you're elected president.
Right. Exactly.
That's not right.
No.
In no way, shape, or form.
Nope.
Right.
You know.
And it's based on, population. So does that mean does that mean Florida's going to get more votes?
If you went by the popular vote, New York and California would determine our elections every year.
That's the truth. And that's even more
that's why we don't have that.
Well, and that's what we see. This is where the illegal populace is distributed to. And don't get me wrong, I'm Heinz 57 Mutt. I'm all about people coming into the country that are seeking asylum, that want a second chance. Do it the right way. Get on the list, and all these, supposedly 14 and 15-year-old young boys, that are, posing as young boys. They're actually 27, 30-year-old Pakistanis, illegals that they're filling up the polling numbers and the popular votes for these people that want certain agendas voted in. And that is very demonic. That's very demonic. Anytime that and this has been going on. I mean, you guys, this has been going on since time immemorial. We all want to think that we want to live. We've got the United States of America. We've got all this freedom, and we got this freedom of speech and everything else. Think about it. We don't have freedom of speech.
No.
You go out and say, geez, that woman's got a fat butt. And it's like, you can't say she's got a fat rear end because it's like, oh my God, I'm offended by that. Well, your butt is kind of fat. Because you can't speak the truth. You can't even joke the truth. And I say fat butt in the sense that, not because men don't have fat butts, but I'm just saying we don't have freedom of speech. You think, oh yeah, we can do anything we want. You can own land. Do you own land? Real estate means the crown owns it. We don't have a crown here. We have a government. And if a government at any time, any federal government decides they need your land for emergency, for the protection of other people, for the preservation of the state, they can either seize, take, or use whatever they want on your property and offer you a low ball. And if you don't take it, they can take it anyway.
Right.
That goes against our Constitution. Everybody thinks, we got this Constitution that protects us. We only have a Constitution that protects us, like the founders say. If you take up arms and disagree with the people that are taking advantage of what our rights truly are as free people. And we lost that my dad said, it was like in the 60s when they put seat belts in cars. I think it was before that. I think is when they set up the dole, when they set up the gladiator games and start passing out free food, took it away from the churches and said, the government's going to take care of you. But it could have been even before that. So, where do we go from here? How do we look at, this state? I mean, I don't look at it as a bad thing. I just look at it as, we've got to live our lives the best that we can. Like you said, get involved. The demonics are always going to be around and in play in just about any area of our lives, whether, it's in the government, whether it's in the churches, whether it's in our neighborhoods, whether it's in our neighbors. We just have to be, we have to be aware. We have to be people of faith. B, that knows that this isn't our home. C, we have to find out, is this important enough to fight against and engage in the enemy? That's the biggest one. I see with, paranormal people, with people and claim they're demonologists. Oh, I'm going to fix this. I'm going to fix this. I'm going to do that. And sometimes, you got to walk away. And especially in politics, what can we really do? Like you said, you can go to a poll. That's doing something concrete. You can fix that. But Denise, that you're not going to run for governor. And you're not going to try and go do that. That's a waste of your time.
Mostly because I don't want to be attacked.
No,
right.
That's the biggest thing. And the thing is, and it's not just attacks from people. It's attacks that people like to put hexes on people. That's one of the things that you and Ken used to talk about a lot.
Oh, yes.
And
people think, that can't affect you. Oh, yes, it can.
Yes,
according to God's will, it sure will attack you at any time. You don't even know when it's going to attack you.
Right. And so, and not only that, I would hate to have a demon actually attack me.
Oh yeah.
And and that's a lot of power is not based on a lot of the people that are in power got their power from demons that they've made. I mean,
I'd hate to see what some of the people in this government are what they do behind closed doors. Mm-hmm. I really would. I know there's some that are demonic and into all that crap.
Well, it makes you wonder how many of them signed a pact with the devil.
They have to be. I mean, why would they hate this country this bad to do the crap that they do?
Well, it's not so much that they hate it. Okay, let's look at the first instance of the devil tempting Christ in the desert. He said, "Look at all these kingdoms. Bow down and worship me, and I'll give you all of it." How could he have given Christ, God, what he already owned?
Right.
Because we were here on earth, and Satan was given reign over all the whores, the prostitutes, the drugs, everything. So when you have somebody that wants to be a politician or wants to be a musician or they want to be a model or they want to be an actress and they're willing to do anything to get what that carrot, well, the demon sends them somebody like Harvey Weinstein or somebody like Jeffrey Epstein's girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell.
Oh, great.
Come on, let's go do this. I'm not kidding you. It's disgusting, but it's true. So Satan just walks them right into the door of you can have anything you want.
That was such good timing.
We did it again, didn't we? Our famous troll.
Oh, that same one?
Yeah. From last night that was in mine.
Yep.
So.
Oh, well,
we got him blocked. We got him blocked.
That's okay. What did he say that was fun? Did I miss it?
No, it was just an advertisement.
Oh.
For whores.
Oh, shoot. The devil was offering something. Somebody might have been interesting.
Yeah, but the thing is, we don't want to give those people any of our time. But it is funny.
No.
When you were talking about, things that people gave, and all these different things, it's like they were whores. That's what they were. They were selling themselves to the devil.
Pretty much.
For something. So that makes them a whore.
That gave them a position of power. It gave them a position of a voice within a government. And that is basically, it's either, power, money, or sex. People want that power and fame, or they want that cash they think is going to, get them into what they want next. Or it's like the dopamine sensor of the sex. It's like, oh gosh, I got to have that dopamine hit, and the devil plays on it every single time. Yeah.
So one of the things that Athena wants to hear about, and so does everybody else, I can guarantee you, Halloween.
Halloween.
What part of Halloween is, not good?
Well, okay, let's say hypothetical here. Are we talking about the celebration of Halloween? Are we talking about the concept of Halloween? Halloween is All Hallows Eve. And what is All Hallows Eve? All Hallows Eve was, a celebration of the dead. And it was never what it is today. See, a lot of people will look at, Catholicism or Christianity and say, well, Christianity just rolled up, a big ball of, we're just going to do, this holiday, we're going to make it into this Catholic holiday, this sort of thing. Well, All Souls Day on November 1st was always a part of the tradition of celebrating those people that have lived exemplary lives. That was always part of the tradition of Christianity. Whereas Halloween, all of it, there's so much to go into. I don't think I have enough time to talk, so I'm going to condense it here. All Hallows Eve was a time of fear for most peasants in Europe before it came over here to be celebrated this great costume ball. And a lot of times people would, after the harvest festival, because, everybody loved the harvest of October, the getting together family and the celebrations that were held around putting all the stores up and shucking all the corn and getting all the potatoes in and getting all the squashes and pumpkins and getting everything prepared for the wintertime. As soon as they did that, there's a number of European legends, myths, demonic references to the evil entities. I'm just thinking of Baba Yaga just came to the top of my head. I don't know why, but a lot of these demonics that would come and raid the stores. Now, what do I mean by raid the stores? Destroy the crops that were taken, that would kill dogs, protective dogs, that would kill the sheep, goats, whatever they had around the time of the end of October, which was Samhain, which was the High Witches' Sabbath. And at the time, they didn't call witches as you and I call a witch. And they would, at the time, it was what do they call it? It was a provincial, it was a pagan, it was a country celebration of paganism where people would worship the dark. And in worshiping the dark on Halloween, on Samhain, they would call upon the spirits. And the Celts were notorious for this, for having these balls of metal that they would ring in their hands to call spirits forth, the spirits of the dead, to try and control them. So Halloween became this time of year that people feared in Europe, as far as expecting their animals to be slaughtered, their sheds to be, gone through and destroyed, burned, etc. It was a time of great fear. And Halloween has always been one of those holidays that strikes horror and terror, because you expect to see demons, you expect to see goblins and ghosts, and all these horrible things would happen before you would celebrate and start celebrating, the time of your loved ones. And that would be All Souls Day. And then you started the Christmas tide, which was, a period just like, you have in the Christian celebration of Lent. You have these weeks that get ready and you prepare for the birth of Jesus. Now, before that, all hell breaks loose. So what do I mean by all hell breaks loose? The days are becoming the darkest, and as you know, the darkest day doesn't hit till Christmas time, but the days that become darkest are when the goblins, Grinches, ghosts, supposed blood drinkers come out, and they knock on your windows, they knock on your doors, they try and get in your houses, they try to get into your minds, they invite you to commit sins. When Halloween, the whole celebration of All Hallows Eve, became a costume event, I think, like many things in our culture, gentlemen and Denise, I think that what we do is, in order to not be afraid of something, we make light of it and we make fun of it. And because, if we think about just the generation we lived in alone here, in the 40, 50, I'm probably the oldest. I'm going to be 60 next year. But we think about all these years that we look back on. Let's look at vampires, for example. Vampires were this gross, Bela Lugosi, long tooth, scary looking thing back in the 20s, 30s. Now we've got sparkle vampires who are shooting pixie dust out their arselings, It's like, I'm sorry, but how is, a blood-sucking, supernatural entity that's going to destroy your soul, how is it something cute and nice? So this is kind of what transferred from Europe as something scary to something that was kind of, well, let's celebrate the spiritism, which kind of concluded in the late 1800s, early 1900s, of let's call the spirits. This has got to be fun. They can't hurt us. Open acceptance of spirits, goblins, and ghouls to, well, let's have a party. Let's celebrate. Let's get dressed up and let's go. Because on All Souls Day, they'd go and they'd share soul cakes. Okay, Halloween, let's ring in the spirits. Let's knock on doors and run away, and in imitation of spirits. So all of Halloween, what's good and what's bad? Athena asks. Okay, as far as I'm concerned, I don't see anything bad about Halloween. What do I see that's bad? I see I see that ignorance is not bliss. Because if you go into a party with somebody that's having a Halloween party and they have got supposedly rune casters, psychics, ball ringers, and you don't know what you're getting into, could you bring something home and you have nightmares and possibly something happen? Yes. So ignorance is not bliss. That's the bad part of Halloween, is that Halloween isn't something to be afraid of or something that you ought to fear. Halloween is any other day in America, like Valentine's Day, Easter, whatever is commercialized. That's what Halloween is here. On the other hand, if you are, or if you've had any problems, I should say, with oppression, with nightmares, with any sort of invitation, with Ouija boards, with seeking psychics when you shouldn't have, when you should have sought God, Halloween is invitational to want more, desire to know more. And that's what demonics are, basically narcissistic little biatches that want to involve you in thinking you can know more, have more, do more, be more than you ever thought you could be. So the evil part of Halloween is you're celebrating the worst parts of hell, death. And people are going to say, Farah, how can you be such a pissant? It's just a Halloween party. Fine, have your bloody fun at a Halloween party. But know that the underlying meaning of celebrating any Halloween is basically celebrating ghouls, goblins, and ugly things. And as long as you teach your kids, hey, we're just going door to door trick-or-treating because it's fun and it is an American pastime, that's different than saying, well, kids, the history of Halloween has got this really ugly, horrible, demonic inference that, we're not going to celebrate at all. That's fine too. Be aware, educate yourself, know what you walk into before you walk into it. Now, what's good about Halloween? Well, I mean, I think it's absolutely adorable when I see all these kids dressing up like saints or George Washington or robots and stuff like that. It doesn't celebrate death. It lets kids get dressed up. It lets, they get, high on candy. Parents can, hey, can I have a shot of alcohol? Or if you got a cigar or something fun, hey, can I have a candy bar? Something. I mean, that can be fun. We have lots of silly American traditions here in America. Is that a bad thing? I don't see it as a bad thing. Some Orthodox and people are going to be like, oh no, Halloween celebrations are good. Okay, if this is the case, why does Jesus say, hey, everything in moderation? Everything in moderation, including, okay, if I go to Guatemala and they're doing, they're taking fish and throwing them at a board and I don't know what I'm getting into. And I'm like, yeah, sure, I want to win a prize. And I throw a fish at a board. Does that mean that I'm participating in some kind of ancient ritual to call up, dead elves, to come and plow my fields? I don't know what I'm doing. Not kidding.
I know. Yeah. I know. It's just a visual.
I know.
So things that came to mind is invitation.
Yes, invitation.
There's a lot of invitation in Halloween. Me giving out candy means that I'm inviting someone. If I turn on my light, I'm inviting somebody to come to my door.
Yes.
And take something from me.
Yep.
Does that mean that it's candy? It should be, but that doesn't mean that. Should we be blessing our Halloween candy before we give it to the children?
You know what? Let me tell you this, Denise. It is my belief, as my religious practice are, we should be blessing everything that comes in our home if we can, just by, blessing it as we receive it. When you have people come to your door, is it invitational for them to walk in your house? Yes. I don't ever let anyone, come to my door and come inside my house. So I can't stand Anton LaVey, and Anton LaVey was a Satan worshiper. So guess what? I don't really give any credence to what him saying that Christian parents give their children over to the devil. He was a mentally incompetent devil worshiper. So I'm going to talk about Anton LaVey.
Yeah,
we don't turn our Christian children over to the devil on Halloween. We only do that if we encourage them to watch what? evil, pornography, pedophilia, this whole, I don't know what gender I am. That's giving your child over to the devil. Taking your kid to buy a robot costume and getting some candy and say, we're going to pass out candy. That's not giving your child over to the devil. That's giving your child into the commercialism of what's America.
So don't let your children watch CNN because it's the news on CNN.
Communist Nazi network.
I know, right? So, but that is invitational. And why not bless your candy? And if your kids bring candy, bless it. Let it sit a night. How do you know, they haven't stuck something in it that's going to ferment and foam? I looked over everything and everything had to be sealed. I mean, I'm sure everybody remembers, just like me. Like I said, I'm the oldest. I'm over 60 here. You used to pass out popcorn balls and cookies. You used to love to get those good treats, and the candy bars were the treat. Now, you can't really go anywhere. And I love what churches have done to take back All Hallows Eve. A lot of churches have events, game events you can take your children to go play games in the parking lot. It's fun. The kids get to dress up, as a princess or a clown, goblins, demons, these sparkling butt vampires, they're not encouraged. And they get to go have fun and play games. Is that bad? I don't think so. And is it fun?
The kids out is a great thing because they all sit on their ass too much.
They do. And, here we're talking about what's bad about Halloween. What do kids do? They come home from school to an empty house. Nobody to tell them I love you. No hugs, no contact with anybody. And they sit around and wait for what? 10 minutes of a parent that says, well, here's your $50, $70 costume I bought you, go. No hugs, no love, no nothing. I'm not saying all parents are like this, but I'm saying we live in a cold freaking society. And if they don't pay attention to their kids now, the devil will definitely pay attention to them.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody is going to love that kid. Somebody is going to take time with that kid. And so, she says, you brought up this quote about Anton LaVey giving our children over to the devil. I'm sorry, but if you don't have time for your children, who's taking care of them?
Yeah, and that's every day, not just
every day. That's every single day. That's not, when you decide to take them to soccer all day Sunday and you're just, oh God, you're so tired because that's all you do is sacrifice your day to take them to soccer. No, that's every day. That's every day. And okay, so the worst thing I think about Halloween is the ignorance of the origin of Halloween. I think it's the ignorance of not explaining to your children it's traditional and it's realistic, religious, just the implications of it. And also, the implications of, what I see a lot now, I don't know if you guys are hearing about this, Carl and Denise and Ron. What I've noticed is since that I've got, I'm sorry, my guineas are going off. They heard Mom's voice. And they want me to. They're like, Mom, shut up. But channels today, and I don't have TV. All right. I have got my brother shares his Netflix with me. I have got, somebody shares Disney with him because I have a lot of time for research on different various individual sites, but I don't watch a lot of, programs or anything else. So I look for movies. And what I've noticed lately in the last 15, 20 years is the ratings, which used to be PG, which, was very PG was, PG-13 was, your child needed to be at least 13. I mean, they would show, short shorts on a woman, and they would show little pecks on the cheeks, maybe a little deep kiss. But today, PG-13 is almost full nudity. Mm-hmm. It is the thematics of, anybody can be a couple and anybody can make babies. And yes, Disney is very demonic now. I totally agree. The demonic symbolism, I'm going to be doing some movie reviews that just will blow your mind, all the different satanic symbols they put in there. But when children are left alone with devices and the choices they have, what they're filling their minds with is what they're going to become. And when you think about Halloween, what is Halloween all about in America? Well, let's watch spooky movies and let's watch the popular, Freddy Krueger's and the, just all the horror movies. I mean, these movies are not for children. No. And that's invitational, Denise. That is It's preternaturally terrifying for me to think of little children, and I mean little children because I say, 13, 14, even 10, 12-year-olds, they're allowed to watch some of these ghost adventurers and these ghost hunters, as they're trying to, surmise if something's haunted or demonic. Children shouldn't be watching this stuff. And parents today, because they think PG-13 is okay, they think watching a rated R movie, a rated R movie, I sit down with my kid. Well, you're watching full frontal nudity. You're watching some stuff that, I'm sorry, most adults shouldn't watch when rated R. And that to me, sadly, when people think that horror movies and getting scared is what Halloween's about, that's just not good. That's not healthy. It's not, it's focusing on death, not on life. So my 2 cents.
I think we should be celebrating life more, but I'll tell you, I like thriller movies. I don't need to see people dying. I just don't. I liked 1408. Yes, the guy's starting to die in the movie, depending upon which ending you got to see.
Yeah.
He did die in one of the multiple endings, but yeah, it was a thriller. It made you think about
it really did.
What can a spirit do to you? And it wasn't just a spirit, it was a haunted room. So that meant everything in this room was haunted. And you sit there and you think about this. Is it even possible? And yes.
Is it even real, Denise? Because the demonic can convince you you're feeling that and you're seeing that, and it doesn't even exist except in your mind. Are you turning blue? Yes. Are you sweating to death? Yes. Do you feel like you're dying? Yes. But it's not real. Anybody that would walk in would think you're crazy.
Right. And in that movie, one of the things was that something in the room drove them crazy, and they jumped out of the window. And it was multiple people had committed suicide in this room. And when you think about that, was it the room?
Yeah.
Was it something, is when you walked into that room, your invitation to walk in, you've just invited something to take control. And
well, I have to say, Denise, if anybody doesn't know, go to my channel, www.swordsofstmichael.org on YouTube. I did a movie review. That's one of my favorite movies, 1408. Can demons do that? You have to look for the series. Can demons really do that? Because there were so many thematic elements in that movie alone, Carl and Denise, that I was like, wow, I have to tell people about this. I have to talk about this. I have to relate my experiences, because that movie hit so many points where demons can totally just get in your head and totally rearrange your reality.
Stephen King knows his crap.
Yes.
Yeah, it's scary what he thinks of.
Well, I think, I think there's a reason he knows what he knows.
I think that he at one time was on the other side, figured it all out, and he's telling us what it really is.
Yeah, it's pretty dangerous.
And the way that he's telling us is in a way that people want to learn. They don't want to read it. They don't want to do all this. Yeah, he's writing the book, but almost every book he does turns into a screenplay, becomes a movie, and it's out there.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So it's getting to the masses in the fastest, easiest way, and in a way that they find palatable.
Yes, in a way that they can understand and they can accept it. I agree.
But I tell you, if you guys get to read 1408, read it, because and then see the movie, you'll be amazed at how very similar it was, because he did take creative license over on that one. He took,
wow.
He said, I have creative license on this.
That's excellent.
So,
we have a guest in the room.
Kiki.
Oh yeah.
She's getting picked on by a couple of the cats.
Oh.
Now, which one is that one?
That's Kiki. She's the tortie.
Yeah.
We have 2 torties, a yellow and
she's a good
tabby.
Girl. She loves everybody.
We usually end up one walking across the keyboard and up over and all.
Yeah, she's running around right now like a crazy cat.
Yeah. This is the one everywhere. We found that only weighed about 4 pounds 6 ounces.
Oh my gosh, it's so tiny.
And now she's like 15 pounds. So she is well loved.
Not spoiled at all, huh, Mom?
No.
She's
But Farah, I got a good question for you.
Shoot.
here lately, I've been seeing a lot of demonologists on shows
Yes.
and everything like that. How do you become a demonologist? I guess
Well,
that's the best way to ask the question.
Yeah. How do you become a demonologist? That's a really good question. I think that well, if you look at the word, let's just start with the word demonology. It's the study of demons. Why would somebody study a demon? Why would anybody care? Why would we become an archaeologist? To study, the history of a specific culture, etc. I think that how do you become a demonologist? I'm not sure that the people that claim that they're demonologists today understand what an ongoing study of demons invites into your life. And how does one come to be that? I didn't know I was one until 12 years ago when my husband at the time said, "You're a demonologist." I said, "What the heck is that?" I don't know what that is. He says, "From your investigations, from your assistance, and from the work that you've been involved in, you've studied the way demons act, the way they react, the way they manifest in situations, the way they manifest in people, the way they manifest in locations, and how they create an energy and a scent of chaos among people who are open to the influence." And you've realized this is demonically induced, and you step back and you do your best either to leave it alone or help the people. So how you become a demonologist? I think becoming a demonologist, in my opinion, it's an ongoing process, because I don't really think that, I can say, yes, I'm a practicing demonologist, but there's so much more I have to learn. There's so much more I don't know. There's so much more that is constantly shaping and shifting and rearranging itself that I have to watch and I have to pray about, and I have to contact my spiritual director for, or I have to contact a couple different exorcists and say, what happened when you saw this, and what happened when you experienced this, and am I doing the right prayers? Am I giving these people the right prayers? So how do you become a demonologist? You basically start with the most trustworthy source of truth that you can find. No, the Keys of Solomon are not a good reference to study demonology. No, what is that other one that people say? It's a satanic Bible that has all the names, the demons. No, that is not a good point of reference. Oh yeah, I've studied all the names and I know what all the demons are. I know what they do. What you need to do is you need to either find an Orthodox, a Catholic, a rabbi. You need to know somebody that has had a lot of years of theology, because a lot of people say, well, I studied demonology, with a Brahmin or a Hindi, or, with a Muslim imam. I studied demonology, which, that is a nice point to get some exposure to other cultures and the way demons operate in other cultures. However, when in my study of demonology, my study of how demons act in the world and how they've acted from time to current, we look at all these different cultures, and, we look at Jewish faith, we look at, the earliest religions, Sumerians and forward, Hindu, Muslims, everybody else. We see the evidence of supernatural creatures, the depictions of supernatural creatures or preternatural creatures, meaning, they're there before time began. And we see how they invite, how they teach, how they invite people to believe that they're going to be, kings and queens. And one of my best and favorite stories of, total demonic influence is the Tower of Babel. When you have all these cultures getting together and they're building a tower. Why? Because they want to talk to God. And they believe if they can reach the clouds, they can talk directly to God, and they have access to God. And God's like, you know what? I don't think so. So I don't know what gave you the idea that I was actually going to hang out on the top of this mountain and talk to you. So he confused them all. And everybody got their different language because demons convinced that. And what did they use to build this? They built quartz, which is, it has radio waves that just, I can't even get into the story because it's so much. But basically what I'm saying is that, when you look at demonology, you want to learn how to be a demonologist. And what makes a demonologist is that it takes years of study, years of watching, writing, noting, learning, being open to learn from your highest source possible, which is me as the Holy Spirit of God. And I don't care if you call it God, if you call it, Jesus Christ, if you call it, that is, when you look at these other faiths, they did not cast out anything. What did they do? They didn't even bind it away. They appeased it. They got it to leave for a short time. They had incantations that would make it go after a neighbor. They had poses they could do so the demon would not look at them and would look at somebody else. But they never got rid of it. It took, a little Jewish rabbi from a little town called Galilee that said, hey, cast the thing out. And then pretty soon they had all these other people going, oh, I'm going to cast it out in this name too. And the guys that were following were like, hey, wait a second. They're not with us. How are these guys casting out demons? He says, wait a second. He's not against us. He's for us. So if you're going to be a demonologist, you have to know that if you're going to stick your nose in where it doesn't belong, if you're going to study these creatures, if you're going to seek them, and if you're going to seek where they live, where they lay, who they're bothering, who they're affecting, who they're possessing, if you're going to stick your nose where it doesn't belong, even if you've been called to do this, you'll put a big target on your back. Bigger than if you walked into, I don't know, underneath the White House and hung out with a bunch of naked people writhing on the floor drinking blood. You would make yourself so well known. And maybe you're not a target because maybe, you're not an honest person. Maybe you're a thief. Maybe you're having affairs. Maybe, you have a porn problem. Maybe you have a drug addiction. And the devil's like, cool, come on, bring it. I'm going to share my stuff with you. So what does it take to be a demonologist? It takes a desire to serve the person who is hurting more than you, to bring them out of pain and into a place of peace. That's what it takes to be a demonologist.
I like that explanation. That's a real good one.
I tried. That's mine. That's my personal experience. This is my life. And other people, you can talk to other people that say they're demonologists, and they'll say, oh, well, you got to study the Goetia, and you got to study, Solomon's keys, and I don't go for that. The reason I don't, because I know that if I'm working on deliverance with somebody in a specific area and I need to know the name of the demon, it's going to be revealed to me, or an exorcist. I don't need to go memorize every single name of demons. I don't need to know every single principality, because I may not be called to know that. And this is the number one invitation. We were talking about invitation for Halloween, guys. All right. And let me tell you this. This is why you don't want to watch horror movies. You don't want to seek out information on the internet about demons. You don't want to seek out these demon names. When I tell you with everything I am that any demonic can affect you right now, this very second, in any way it wants to, using anything you've seen, you've touched, you've slept with, you've drank, anything you've experienced, it can twist and use against you. So everything that you look at, whether it is, mutilation, pornography, kiddie porn, anything you've ever looked at can and will be used to mess you up good. Especially if you're not playing anymore like the devil wants you to. Got to be careful.
Ken would always say that to be a demonologist is to be chosen. Not only chosen, but dedicated. And a lot of people don't realize that a lot of true demonologists are, they live on very little.
Oh, yes, they really do. Because you know what? It's not about the fame or the money, or like I about popped my freaking blood vessel the other day. I was on media, and I saw that there was a very popular paranormal personality hawking alcohol that was brewed by a possessed doll. And I'm like,
I know. Wow. I saw that.
What? And yes. I mean, okay, I'm all for people, making money. I'm all for people branding themselves and having a product. But, if you have a possessed item, whether it's possessed or not, okay, that's your clue here. Whether that item is possessed or not is immaterial. For you to sell something that is rubbed against it, touched it, as being affected by it, that bothers me a great deal.
You know what really bothers me is that they're saying it's vodka that's aged in a location. And like vodka is not aged.
Right.
So first off, you're lying.
They don't know vodka.
Yeah, they don't know vodka. They don't know what.
You don't know vodka like Irish know vodka.
Yeah. Like the Russians don't know it anymore because we're not selling it. But
exactly.
But yeah, I saw that and I'm like, first off, your mother-in-law would knock the living crap out of you for that.
Oh my
they were never ones for making a lot of money off of their names.
No.
And but I do have to say I have a bracelet here, and I know you've probably seen it. Is from Susan, and it's made with jewelry from Lorraine Warren.
Yeah,
and I find it's very comforting to me, but for somebody to do that, I mean, I understand it's a marketing ploy.
I was like, what? Are you serious? I cannot believe it.
I don't know how many vodka distilleries there are in Connecticut.
You told me about that the other day.
Yeah. I just, like I said,
and it's like, I'm not slamming people for wanting to make money and do things. It's just like, can we not make, and this is, remember Carl and Denise and Ron, we were talking about what is our culture become at Halloween? It has become, it is made a mockery of what the fear and evil that surrounded this time of year from the satanic celebrations. And that's what I think this is doing. It's making a mockery. And that's kind of sad. It's kind of really sad that that's what people want so much. They want they want to brush up against that fame so bad that they're going to buy that.
Oh, yeah. And I think they're wanting like $125 a bottle for it.
I don't know. Oh. I just was like, scroll. Sometimes you just don't want to say anything. You just want to scroll.
Vegas Museum?
No.
Oh.
No.
We've
already talked about it. I'm not
ding dongs.
No, not there either. It's, like I said, we're not going to give out the name of the location.
Well, why would we even bother doing that? We're just talking about the concept, because I'm sure, that's the thing is about, no matter what you say or I say or anybody says, well, we're talking about something that, okay, I'm going to just put it out there. So whoever's listening, I don't really give a holy flying crap of shit. Okay. You want to tell somebody I said something? I'm right here. Come get me. Okay. I'm not asking for any hexes or any spells, because if somebody got their panties in a snitch because they want to go get some attention by telling somebody I said something, rock your little knockers off. Okay. But I'm not going to say anything different to him. No, bring it on. What's wrong is wrong. What's right is right. And it's not right to make money off of something that you're claiming is possessed.
Yes. And Athena, we're not going to delete your comments.
No.
Because this is the Bill of Rights Network. And
that's right.
And your freedom of speech. And no matter what your opinion is, it's yours.
It's your opinion.
And you know what, Carl? This might be a really good time to play the disclaimer.
Yes.
It might. Okay. Just hold on real quick, folks. We'll take a 22-second break so you can hear this.
Oh.
The views expressed here are solely the opinions of the hosts and the guests, and not necessarily those of the network, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, etc. If you have an issue with the content of the show, please contact the show host. Thank you.
See, I'm prepared.
Well, so I take it Athena was a little bit more strongly opinionated than me and Chad.
That's okay. like I said, we're all for everybody having an opinion, even if it's different than ours. You know,
exactly, because you know what, we're not all going to agree. That's just, you know, we're not all going to agree on all things all the time.
If we all agreed, it'd be so boring,
wouldn't it?
Oh
yeah.
God.
Why would we bother talking to each other? Because we just mirror everybody else's opinions.
Yeah, we might as well not even have clothes, you know, different colors of clothes. We all just wear jeans and t-shirts.
Yeah, we'd just be
precisely
each other back and forth. Well, that's what we do anyway. Never mind.
I know, right? Oh gosh, no, it's like, you know, the sad thing about, you know, the paranormal research that's gone on is that we all know there's something out there. We all don't agree what's best for us in the experience.
Yeah, or you know? What it is even, you know, aliens are Bigfoot's aliens, you know, ghosts are ghosts, or they're aliens, or they're something else. You know, I don't know. All I know is that every once in a while I see something that's not
that you can't explain.
Exactly. I mean, and you know what? If you can't explain it, you can't explain it. What's wrong with that? I mean, sometimes the beauty is in not knowing. And we're not supposed to know all things here. We're supposed to look to the stars, you know, for signs and wonders. Heck, I got them in my backyard. Got a nice 8-point waiting for a bullet up his bahootie, you know?
Yeah. I was going to say, deer season's coming up pretty soon.
Well,
I know. My husband's putting my deer
season's already here in Missouri. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
It is.
I do a lot of hunting with a crossbow. So
sweet.
Oh, yes.
Well, you know, I just look at it this way. If I'm in the woods and a deer attacks me, he's going down.
Yeah, he's filling the freezer.
Yeah,
that's right.
You just tell him.
Have
you or me, buddy.
Have the Bigfoots took you in since you've moved out to your new place?
You know what? I have seen swatches of because we've got deer, we've got bear out here, and we've got cougar out here, and I'm always one, you know, to bend over and pinch scat, you know, to try and figure out what it is, you know, whether it's, you know, fox, because we've got fox, we got a little bit of everything. I've seen some little swatches of funky hair that, you know, he thinks is probably, you know, probably coon, possum. Like, what would a coon or possum be doing, like 6.5 feet up? You know, why is a cougar jumping at? So, you know, who knows what's out in these woods?
Well, coons climb trees and use it as a bathroom up there several times. I can tell you.
Oh, that. I know. And then you get the little berry spiders up there, you know, running down the tree.
You get it in my tree stand. That's the worst part.
Right where you're going to sit, right?
Well, what's bad is open up your box blind, getting ready for deer season, and you open it up, and an owl comes flying out at you.
Oh, yeah.
That will scare you worse than any haunted location.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, been there, done that.
Oh, my gosh. That's so funny.
So, you know, you have a good way of explaining sleep paralysis. It is something that comes up a lot of times on our shows.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little about that?
Well, you know, I have gotten colorful discussions with people about sleep paralysis on the basis that, and I do mean colorful because a lot of people think, well, it's demonic, or, oh, it's all medical. And the interesting thing about how demons operate in the world, a lot of times it's a combination of both. And I think that people need to understand that sleep paralysis might be something physical, and they might need to check out their blood pressure to find out if maybe their hormones are imbalanced. Sometimes, you know, between the ages of like 20 and 40 for a woman, you're having some really strange hormones going on. Or maybe if you're in your 50s, you're going through peripause and you are really needing a pause from people because your bitchiness is like over the top and you can't sleep and you're like, oh. So, you know, stuff like
someplace where you can see it.
Yeah, I know, right? So, I mean, you could be having some sleep paralysis issues because A, you're dehydrated. B, your hormones are out of whack. C, your lipids, your blood pressure. It might have something to do, you know, with the quality of your blood. Maybe you're anemic. That aside, say, you know, you're all good. Your doctor's like, yeah, you're healthy. You're an idiot. You can go back to sleep now. And okay, what have you been doing to invite something like sleep paralysis in? And I just saw a show on Netflix the other night. It was pretty good about it. I'm going to do a review on it. What's it called? I can't even think about it. But it's another one of those exorcism movies where they turn it into a horror movie for, grins and giggles, because they have to throw that stuff in there. So we're talking about sleep paralysis. And then they had, when they were interviewing this young boy about, when he had first experienced this entity that came in and had his whole family murdered with an axe. He talked about a man. And he talked about a man that had sat on his chest. So they didn't say, the kid wasn't old enough. He was probably 9 or 10. He didn't say, I had sleep paralysis. He said that I couldn't move and I couldn't breathe. I felt like somebody was sitting on me, and it would come at night. Now, when we look at the cases that I've been involved with, Ken's been involved with, and the other people that I know that have had progressive oppression cases from sleep paralysis is not the first thing that happens. Usually it's the nightmares. Usually it is it's something so innocuous you think nothing of it. Usually by the time someone is experiencing sleep paralysis, and demons never irritate you one at a time. They come in packs. Not like a 6-pack, more like a 12-pack of eggs. And they take turns irritating you. So you might think that you've got sleep paralysis, like Ken would explain, one would sit on you, but you might get a totally different one the next night or the next week, because demons have no time. They are not in the same time zone that we are. They can do this today. They can do this 12 months from now. They can do this 5 years from now, or they can do it 5 days in a row. It depends on what their narcissistic agenda is to destroy you, tear you apart from your family, and tear you apart from your sanity. So in demonic sleep paralysis, you could have anything from just your entire body not being able to feel it and not being able to move. And all you can do is move your eyes, and you can breathe a little bit, but it freaks you out because you can't move. And you're like, oh my gosh. So you automatically assume that maybe it's physical. And it may not be physical. There have been studies that show that this can happen on occasion. And I mean on rare occasion, because it's not the norm, for a body. Because when we sleep, our brain naturally, all the signals turn off, or else we'd be twitching, kicking, punching, spitting, and pooping ourselves, when we're laying there sleeping. But everything gets shut down, including, so if by chance we were in a state of REM sleep, the deepest state of sleep, and opened our eyes, we would not be able to move because our body had shut everything down naturally. That's why, it's almost impossible for us to wake in the deepest stages of sleep. Now, people say, well, how come I have dreams and I have really vivid dreams, and I'll wake up in a snap and I'm falling, and I'll wake up right before I fall. That is probably a demonically induced dream. Because why would you die in a dream? Dying in a dream is not it's not something natural that you would think of, because none of us, unless you've had an experience and you've died, there's nothing in your life that would say, I'm ready to experience death, like by falling off a cliff or drowning or falling off my bed and I know I'm going to die. That's not natural. That's demonic, in my opinion, in my experience. So if you're talking about sleep paralysis, what is it and how is it going to affect you? It's by invitation. And it's a demonic, it's an act of, it's like, I tell people too, it's like an act of rape. It's control, it's possession. It's like, I own you now, and I'm going to play with you, and I'm going to toy with you, and I can just have you whenever I want you. So I'm just going to make you feel like you're helpless now until you succumb to the next round of invitation, which could be anything from, and what I've seen with sleep paralysis is usually stomach pains, stomach issues, headaches, that don't go away, migraines. That's when usually knocking starts, smells start, seeing dark shadows out of the corner of the eyes, because oppression is a set of instances that usually happens within a timeline, and sleep paralysis is just part of that timeline.
I wanted to tell everybody that's in one of the chats, we cannot see your comments in our chat, but I have it up on my phone, and I want to say hi to Susan Roberts. Rosalie Coda, and Lori Clark. Those are the 3 that I can see currently.
Hi, guys. Hi,
And
Lori. Hi, Susan.
Which one are they not? Which one are they on?
Let me go.
They're part of the old gang, you guys. They used to be in all the shows.
Yeah.
But we should have them all over here in the comments.
Yeah, they should be showing up.
And the thing is, they're not. I even hit like, and the only like up there, Carl, if you look at that, it's me, and it's from that chat.
Oh.
So it's actually from the one that Farah shared. So
yeah, I think YouTube. And these others are Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah, since 5:34, only thing that came in is off of YouTube.
Right. Yeah, I noticed it.
So we're sorry, everybody.
Facebook is messing with us again, folks.
Yeah. Susan says she's on the Bill of Rights.
Cool.
Facebook. So apparently we're having some issues, and not shocked, because we're probably talking about stuff they don't want us to hear.
We're talking about stuff that's not popular, and that happens.
Facebook.
That's just, you talk about these spiritual warfare topics, and it's going to have some kind of glitch, some kind of problem, some kind of bump that it's just going to happen.
So, well, it is what it is.
It is.
So,
but I'm glad you found them. I'm glad you found them in there.
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody for listening. And if we're not seeing your comments, please go try to find the Bill of Rights network on YouTube, and maybe that will work if you have really important burning questions you really want answers to, or message me so that I can get your question. And I am so sorry. I don't know. It shows
how this happened. Yeah,
it happens. So
we're even getting them on all the Facebook pages. Jeremy's over on Things Network where we're live, and it's not even popping up on.
Oh my gosh! 2 seconds, guys. I got to shut up a dog.
I wonder if we unadd and re-add it, it'll help.
No, if I do that, it didn't show.
Not you. Not you. Zip it, Skippy.
So any of you
I'm checking all the Facebooks right now to see.
Actually, Susan, Ken did have a lot of issues, and it would always be 10 minutes before the show. He would think he'd have to read.
I know, right?
The whole network.
And he would literally just be like, smacking with a snake, going, forget it. Don't worry about it.
Honest, I'm surprised he didn't have a heart attack on show nights because of all the stuff. Ron would go, well, Ken's dicking around with the computer again.
Exactly. I mean, it was just like, it was regular. It was regular. I mean, people, if we actually had a show for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, I think
we'll see.
I think Farah just said, I don't want to have a show tonight. I'm gonna
have Ken fix
I'm gonna pull this little cord out and hide it from him.
Yeah, it's like sometimes I was tempted to do that because he would get so, why? Because he was a perfectionist, you guys, number one. Number two, in his perfectionism, it was his job to make sure that A, the truth got out, B, the majority of people that needed to hear what needed to be said got out there, and he was just constantly messed with in so many levels and ways. It just would just anger him. And I mean, he'd get the holy water flying, and he'd be throwing around St. Benedict medals.
You want to hear what Ron, tell her how you knew who I was talking to on the phone with Ken.
Oh, because all I'd hear is say, yep, yep. And I'm thinking there's only 2 people that can shut her up on a phone. That's her sister and Ken.
Oh, that's funny.
That was it.
That is so funny.
And Lori says, always issues when talking about spiritual warfare.
Always. And that, that brings up a good topic because, just in some of the recent cases I just want to tell you guys, if you know of parents or if you have families and other people that have children, the biggest problem that we're seeing right now in spiritual warfare is grandparents that are being affected through their grandchildren. And they have no real spiritual authority on the same level that a parent does. They do have some, but not a lot. And so it's very frustrating for them to try and help these children that are, gender dysphoric. They are being bullied. They are, they're wanting to be like their peers in trying sex and drugs and stealing and cutting and all kinds of things because they want to be accepted so bad. And this in itself is part of a cultural, remember I was talking about principalities and powers. This is part of a cultural demonic group of like a whole tribune of demonics that are attacking our children through the schools, through their friends, and trying to separate that child from any sort of loving, caring parental influence, especially grandchildren. So, as our kids are in school and as our kids, my point is, if your child is in school, if your child is in a public school, private school, religious school, stay involved every day. Don't let any piece of paperwork come home that you do not look at. Do not let your child have one day that you don't ask them about their friends, about what's going on with their life, what their goals are, what do they need, what would they like. Check their arms, check their armpits, check their thighs. More kids than ever. And when I first heard about this whole cutting thing and burning thing, kids were doing this in high school. We're seeing children that are doing it as young as 7 and 8 years old, stabbing themselves with pencils so they can feel something, cutting themselves with plastic knives just so they can feel something. This is how lost our children are today out there. It's like, we're losing a battle when we focus on, I got to have a new car, I got to have a better house, I got to have more money. And our kids are left alone to a demonic world that doesn't give a flying FJ.
Well, Rosalie, she's in this chat room now that we can't see the YouTube one. She said, just so you know, I'm only going to that Paracon full of liars to see Arnie and a few others that are my friends, and the vodka is $199.
Wow.
Oh, well, there we have our answer. Oh, Rosalie, I know there are some really wonderful people at that Paracon, and I am not knocking people that go to Paracons. I'm not knocking people that go there and seriously try to help, like Arnie is. There are some people in the paranormal world that their heart is in the right place, and they, like me years ago, we're all learning. We're all in our little stepping places where we're trying to get to. And hopefully we're not where we were 5 years ago, and we're not where we want to be in 5 years, but we're trying to get there. And sometimes at these Paracon, you can meet some really interesting, talented people. And what do I mean by talented? I mean talented as in, their gift of an ability to tell a story, their gift of an ability to love people, or their gift and ability to sense people's pain and try and help them, their gift and ability to walk into a haunted place and say, you know what, this is really evil, or this is really good. So, I'm not knocking that in any way, shape, or form. I am knocking the $199 price, at least make it $70. So, I might want to buy a bottle.
Yeah.
But,
well, Crystal Head is cheaper, and you get a nice skull head, and you get Dan Aykroyd's name with it.
What is an expensive bottle of vodka go for?
Oh gosh, a good expensive bottle. I mean, I would think a good expensive bottle is going to go anywhere from 125 to about 350. Good expensive bottle.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, but that's, if you want to pay, really good, because you know what you're paying for? You're not paying for it to be aged. You're paying for it, like you said, triple, quadruple. You're paying for the distillation process and what they use. It's so expensive.
No, I'd have to go with what that company is charging. It's because of where they have to put these barrels to age in that house. They're paying for rental space, because it's not like they're the ones doing the distilling. They don't have anything in it other than rental space.
Right.
I know. It's like, okay.
It's a scam.
Remember,
it's like, can we call Scooby-Doo in the mystery machine?
So I want to say hi to Gary and Barbara. I'm so sorry we cannot see your comments in the chat. I happen to have the Bill of Rights Network up on my phone so I can see what questions are being asked. So unless you can get into YouTube at this point, the Bill of Rights YouTube.
Yeah, I have no idea why Facebook is. And then if you click, have you clicked on the deals and went to YouTube? You see the comments?
Yep.
Mine shows a white screen and doesn't show me any of the
Oh
comments.
my gosh, that's crazy.
Maybe we got knocked out because of Miss Farah using her F word.
No, that wouldn't have kicked us out.
I just said the F word. I didn't say the F bomb.
Yeah, she said.
Well,
freaking.
you never know what they hear.
That's what I heard.
And I only alluded to that nasty word. I didn't say it.
Yeah, she didn't actually say the word.
No.
I never say that word.
Did I say the SHI poop word?
I'm not worried about that one.
Yeah.
Damn shit in hell's fine.
But you said freaking. You didn't say the other.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that. But no, probably too. Either that or it just maybe... A lot of people in Missouri, I don't know where you guys are at, specifically in Kansas or whatever, as far as towers go, where we're at is really difficult to get internet. And that's one of the reasons why I haven't been able to do live shows until I figure that out. But another reason I was talking about internet is that whereas this could be natural, it could be supernatural as well, the interference. There are, with the storm, a lot of people have been in and out of internet for the past 2 days that we know in Missouri. So it could be, an internet thing, maybe. I don't know.
Well, I live in Missouri, but I haven't had a problem with it. But this is the first time anything like this has happened using StreamYard.
I'm sorry. Denise
You'll be proud of that,
all the time.
But yeah, I mean, I even went to my YouTube channel on another browser, and I still cannot see the chat room.
And why? Why can't people get through so they can ask me questions when I got freaking decades of experience I can share with them? Because I guess I'm just supposed to hang out and have a party with you guys.
I guess.
You know what, though? If you guys have questions and we find them later, we will send them to Farah and we will get the answers. And
I promise you, I will answer them. So if I'm missing anybody, do not think you will get ignored. Period.
So let's see here. What am I seeing? Well, if it's not out there, you know what? It's showing up on mine.
Isn't that strange?
Well, see, I even went to Things Network where we're live at.
Yeah.
Jeremy over there, he says, hi, everybody, and got you shared out.
Hi, Jeremy.
See their comments there. Jeremy York's the owner of Things Network, where paranormal shows are at. We're part of and everything. But yeah, I mean, I better go check my Twitter account and see if anything.
I've never gotten anything from Twitter.
No.
They're talking about Ed and Lorraine rolling over in their graves. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that. I mean, if Sam Walton came back from the dead, he'd fire everybody that's in that company.
He'd blowtorch his own business.
He'd shoot them all.
Oh yeah. He wouldn't tolerate
Walt Disney would fire everybody that's running Disney right now.
Oh yeah, he would.
Oh, in a minute. He'd be like, what the hell happened to my company?
He rolled over in his grave more times than you can think of.
Yeah. He's pushing up them daisies.
Yeah,
and not Daisy Duck either.
Or Daisy Dukes.
So Farah, how do you like living out on the farm compared to where you had your other house at?
Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh,
nice.
Carl. Let me tell you something. I was talking about principalities and powers earlier. When I look at, the watchers of the city I lived in, and I look at the watchers of the place, we're talking about different tribes of demonics that are in charge. And I'd rather fight with these ones than the ones in the city any time of day or night. I've always been a country girl. I don't mind living by a city. However, because having city conveniences are kind of fun, but I'm not a shopper. Right. I don't like big traffic. So I love being out in the country. The worst thing in the whole world, you guys, okay? Being in the city, you already have tons of dirt dumped in your yard. So you can grow just about anything if you want, if you try. Out here, I live on a flipping rock. Okay?
Yeah.
It's like I love rocks. It's
Yeah.
like you can't stake anything, you can't dig anything. It's like it's just rocks, 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 and more rocks.
Yeah.
So yeah, I absolutely love living in here. But it's like I told my husband, I said, okay, now we have a choice. We can continue to smack our heads and our brains against a rock and try and grow food, or we can grow the stuff that either eats rocks or eats scrub grass, like real food.
So do you have a greenhouse?
No, we're going to get one of those. I had a greenhouse in Springfield, Carl, that I absolutely loved. It was one of those little small walk-in ones that you starving. But you guys, no, it's like a greenhouse. You still have to tend the stuff. Here, I sold it because, it wasn't going to be big enough. I really thought that I had a raised bed and I was going to be able to do something. But no, I'm going to have to get a greenhouse. I'm really going to have to get a really nice greenhouse because I can't grow anything in rock.
Yeah, your soil is...
Yeah, the soil
it's not that great.
Non-existent.
Yeah,
But
I was going to go few and far in between.
But your property is really nice. I like.
Oh my
like
God, it's so
It's a
beautiful.
nice
Oh, you guys, and you know what? We're getting little signs. So we've got Queens Hill, we've got Pug Villa, we've got Surrey's Forest, we got all these little trails and everything. So yeah, we live on a flipping rock. I'm surprised I even got trees out here, and a little pond too.
Awesome.
Yeah. I'm blessed. I'm so very blessed because I'm still able to travel, to go, to consult, to do whatever I need to do. But now it's like I get to be like, I'm never going to retire, but you know what I mean? I get to be old and happy. I'm going to be 60 next year. I'm going to have a heck of a birthday party.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and when you said that, I'm the youngest. Everybody, all of you are, and then you, and then these two.
Yeah, I'm 62. I'll be 63 in May next year.
Yeah, so Denise is the baby. That's okay. You can be the baby.
Today. But again, I'm only 29, so.
Health-wise, about 98, but.
Don't say mentally you may not live the night.
After this weekend, you don't even know what we went through. So
I can't even imagine. I mean, just from my short experience, and that's something I want to say before we end the broadcast. Anyone that's listening or paying attention, we're talking about spiritual warfare and demonics here. And I will tell you from my own personal experience, which I've never had before, that a hospital is no place for the happy and the healthy. It is a place for the dying and the demonic. Mm-hmm. Why do I say that? The people that work there are so overworked, so underpaid, and so trying to scramble to get to anybody. If you have to go in to the emergency room, if you have to go into a hospital, if you know a loved one, do not leave them alone overnight for longer than 4 hours. What I saw just made me go, oh, thank you, God. I'm glad I'm not dead yet. Still here for the fight. Our hospitals are full of hopeful nurses and doctors. However, because they can't watch you all the time, you need an advocate. You need somebody that's going to come check on you, that's going to call, make sure you get your medications, make sure that you're not alone in ER and left for 12 hours or 15 hours later and you're not bleeding out. And I'm not saying that these hospitals are bad or these people are bad. I'm saying that our hospitals and our big medical facilities are not, they're not spiritually good places to be.
Apparently demons need sex.
Apparently blocking them don't keep them blocked.
Well, it's a different address.
No,
that.
Well, you know.
Yeah, it is a different address, but it's from the same person, I would say.
Well,
it's a different account.
Okay, what are the two essential things that humans need? Food and sex.
Well, yeah, because you can't procreate without it.
No, exactly. So, I mean, the devil's just trying to give us what he thinks we need.
I can't make babies anymore, so I don't need it anymore.
Well,
There's your that's been your attitude.
Anyway, we're talking about spiritual warfare here and demonology.
Oh, now you know why it's called Not So Normal at the end of our show.
Well, you know what?
And you know what? As long as I'm here with the producer, if I lose my job, he let me do it.
That's right.
You'll never lose your job.
If
She
you
could never
not
talk
so
like
normal,
this on her show. So I gave her the right to come on here, and we all do it.
That's the fun thing about having this kind of show is that you can segue off into the not so normal. And there's lots of not so normal stuff.
Yeah, we get off on all kinds of things.
So the other night when I was in the ER, they didn't.
I went with her.
Yeah,
thank God.
They didn't give me the button
on 30 minutes of sleep.
That's all I got. So, but yeah, they didn't give
all
me.
Night in the
they didn't give me the call button at all, or the remote control for the TV.
Nothing.
And I'm like, okay, I'm sitting here having to go to the bathroom. And he goes, and I sat there for it was a good hour having to go. And nobody came in. I was waiting. I said they should be here anytime because they had to check on me.
Well, I did go out there and actually tell her, and
she came.
When I got her off her phone, she finally came in.
So, but
again, smart people using
dumb devices,
technology.
Yeah.
That's why I just wanted to mention it, Denise. I know you've had a rough time, and I can't talk about what kind of time I've had yet, but it's like,
how are you feeling?
I'm feeling okay. You know why? It's like
sounds pretty good.
Yeah, I'm healing. I'm healing, and that's the most positive thing. And it just, when you've got Superwoman and you put her in shackles and say, you can only shuffle instead of one, not that I was ever Superwoman, but it's like I'm used to going 90,000 miles a minute, and you say, well, you can go 3 miles a minute. You're like, get away from me. So it's been an adjustment to slow down and let my husband take care of me and let my son take care of me, and that's what I'm learning. That's what I'm learning to do.
Good, do it, enjoy
Not
it.
very well, but I'm trying.
And I'd like to say hello to Jane. She joined in the other chat, so you guys all know. We know she's here.
Yeah, we got people in chats all over the place. That's so funny.
Regular.
Yeah.
So what's your husband's opinion on ghosts and all this?
Okay, can you rephrase the question, Carl?
Okay, your husband that you have now does he believe in the ghosts and all the demons and all this too, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he does. The interesting thing though is that he has his level of faith and spirituality. He trusts everything I say, and he doesn't question it in any way, shape, or form. He's just not interested in throwing himself down in front of any demons that are charging at me. He says, just let me know when you need my help, honey. He says, I trust you got this, babe.
He's a good guy.
He's a great guy.
Yeah,
we really like him. It's just he believes in everything. He just he's just he doesn't have the same experiences I have. So he's had a few, but not the same, that say, and like we were talking about what makes a demonologist, he doesn't feel called to write about this. He doesn't feel called to, pick up the phone and say, oh yeah, I know, I can help you with this. Right. He's got different talents, Yeah,
he does this. Yep. Here, this for you. That's what he does when people call about weird stuff like this. This is for you.
Yeah, exactly.
So we got a comment from Russell West. He says, I love your show tonight. Very interesting and makes a person think. Yeah. So thank you, Russell. I'm sorry.
Thanks, Russell.
We're just going to have to verbally, talk to your comments and stuff tonight.
Yeah, Russell, tell Russell, you got any comments? You got any questions or whatever? Throw them in now. We're down to the last nitty gritty.
Yep. Any questions, guys? Put them out there. And
anything except the sex brothel questions. We ain't got time for that, okay, people?
No, we can't explain that to you today.
No. This is not what was it called when we were growing up? Sex education. Or was it was called Human Anatomy? No.
You know, I tell you, when they did sex education, my mom was like, here.
No, that's none of them.
No, my mom did not do that. She handed me a foreign magazine and said, read about this. And I'm like,
what?
Oh my God.
She still reads it today.
I do not. But that's what she did. She said, she goes,
are you kidding?
No.
Wow.
She said sex is perfectly normal and here. And it's like those stories, you would wonder if these people were possessed.
Oh.
I mean, it was horrible. The letters to form. Oh no. I mean, that was social media on a whole different level.
Yes. And I think, when you look at, we're talking about invitation, social media is one of the most dangerous. I don't know if you've noticed, Carl or Denise, the people that are on social media all the time, it's almost invitational dopamine hits constantly. I've actually kind of had to try and wean myself off of it because it's just so easy to get engaged with other people's drama. And especially in the paranormal community, everybody is slicing each other's noses off saying, he said this, she said that. They don't know this about.
It's like high school all over again. The part you didn't like.
Right.
It's like why I asked her, I said, why would you sign up for this crap? I don't want to relive that. That's the only part of high school I hated.
Yeah. And I hated the social part of high school.
That's all Facebook is.
Actually,
and that is. And Twitter, oh my gosh, it's like if you've got the latest tweet, everybody's on it. Other than that, it's almost like an information sharing of what. So, when you're looking for community, you look at information that you want to share. I don't know. It just, our world has become this invitational dopamine hit that, we're either getting an instant hit in our minds for what we're seeing or what we're touching, let's buy some more junk. Let's have some more crap. And that's just really demonic. I mean, why can't we check out of that stuff and just be totally content with what we're called to do right now, whether it's be a mother, whether it's, be a farmer, whether, it's be an accountant and help people, understand the numbers of their lives. I mean, why are we so discontent? Because the media tells us you should be discontent because you should be more. So, maybe this Halloween, it's a good time for all of us to check out. Just check out for a week or two and turn it all off and say, you know what? I'm just going to sit in my house and I'm going to be content with the people I know, the people I love, the people I talk to, the people I can walk across the street and take a plate of my food that I made tonight. Or, the lady that did, it's 2 doors over that I haven't seen her in a couple of days. May I just knock and say, hey, if you need me, here's my phone number. That counteracts the demons.
Well, I did that with their neighbor across the street. They're having twins soon.
Oh my gosh!
So
boy and a girl.
Yep. So I made sure I went over there and gave her my phone number and said, if you need anything, call me.
You can tell he's getting, the closer it gets, you can tell he's getting really nervous. He's I don't know how many times.
He's the father. So we have a comment here from Russell. He says, oh my, where do I start? This was when we said questions. And he goes, you guys have been right on target with everything. I'm so glad to hear people actually talk about this stuff. It needs to be said and put out there. So there you go. And then we got Mike over here saying, instant satisfaction, no patience out there anymore.
Very true.
And let's see, Rosalie says, just so you know, tonight has been wonderful, not just because Farah's on.
Oh, yeah, because Farah's been
It is because Farah's on. I need to remember to come on every week. I have made homemade baked apples downstairs, and I won't get to until the show is over. Well, thank you. Thank you, Rosalie.
Oh, yes, Rosalie, that's so sweet. Yes, she's always got great input, too, and great questions. She's fun.
I remember when you had on Ralph Sarchi.
Yeah.
She asked a question. He educated her. And she just wants to learn. It's nothing other than she wants to learn. And
she just really wants, to be able to say, oh, okay, somebody asked me about this. I'd like to share what I know is the truth. I agree. And that's really what we're trying to do is we're trying to keep the truth out there and keep people protecting themselves from what they don't need to be around. And like Russell, your listener was saying, people don't have any patience and they are full of hate and they are full of anger. Everybody's becoming like this right now. And it's because the demons of chaos are loose everywhere. You can't walk into any store. You can't drive down any street, but people are frowning and angry and just nasty to each other. People aren't smiling. They're not opening doors. They're getting faster and angrier and more hateful. How do we stop that? We smile.
That's all I do.
Just smile and open the door for somebody.
Yep. And instead of taking it, opening, you're not coming in. But Farah, Gary asks a question. He goes, how often do you come in contact with demons?
Every day.
There you go.
Every day. Every day of my life. Now, either on the phone, in my head, in my space. Where? They're right here in this room with you right now. Just because you don't believe they're there doesn't mean they're not. Do you have to fear them? Hell no, you have nothing to fear. The people don't understand, even if they're not baptized, which I tell everybody you should be baptized so you can get on your walk and get your stuff going, as we know. But even if you're not baptized, if you have an ounce of faith, every single one of us was created with the indwelling of a piece of God called the Holy Spirit. Okay. You got nothing to fear from these little suckers. Right. They're nothing but a barking, yipping little dog trying to nip at your heels. And they're trying to get in your head. They're trying to get in your mind. They're trying to get in your heart and destroy you and rip you from any kind of happiness or peace or contentment from being involved with anything and anyone. So, yeah, demons are everywhere. Just ignore them, laugh at them.
Well, Farah, we're at the last 4 minutes of the show. Can you tell everybody where they can find you?
Well, you can find me not only on Facebook at Swords of St. Michael. I have a Facebook page. So if you have questions, I haven't been active in it too much lately. You can also find me. I have a wealth of information, including from when Ken was alive, at Swords of St. Michael on YouTube, which I have a variety of compact shows from, learning about demons, learning about sleep paralysis, to some of the most common things that, maybe you're in a relationship and you're not so happy and you're worried, like, well, maybe I should record my conversations. Maybe this person is off, whether it's a boss, a loved one, coworker, child, and it's the demons of narcissism. I have a whole series on that, and I'm planning on doing more. I also have, like Denise and I were talking about on the YouTube channel, can demons really do that? So if you'd like to go on, check it out, post any questions saying, hey, can you do this movie? I did do the movie The Rite. I did do the movie 1408. I've got more movies to go there. So definitely check that out, and you can find me there. And I love your suggestions, and I'm so glad you guys invited me, because, this kind of got me out of my little rut I've been in, and, just trying to chill out and not do too much. I really thank you, Carl and Denise and Ron.
Okay.
Thanks for having me tonight.
You're always welcome.
All your listeners, thank you so much.
Well, we have a comment for you from Athena. She says, tell Farah I still sleep with my blessed rosary that she made.
Well, Athena, let me tell you something, dear. Thank you so much. A rosary saved my life, and someday I'm going to post that video up. And because I think, people don't understand, it's not just a rosary. You can hold prayer beads, you can hold a blessed cross and pray with it. And your prayers protect you. Your prayers and your faith, folks. Never forget, there's a God that is listening.
And another comment from Rosalie. She says, also your old show with Ken and Deb, and I'm trying to get back to listen. And so Rosalie, you're going to see a younger Denise on there too.
Yes, we'll see a younger Denise on there.
So
back when you're 26?
Yeah. When I was 26 instead of 29.
I know. I remember those days well.
So I'd like to thank everyone for listening. And you can find us here again on Thursday night. We're going to be doing the Haunted Vortex special, where people come in and tell us their stories of their hauntings that scared the living daylights out of them. And our guests are going to be, all the paranormal hosts are going to be here. And every 15 minutes, we're going to have a different person on telling us their story. So we're going to have Rhodey Speak from Texas, and Scott Johnston from Iowa, and Wendy Schindler from here in Kansas City. And if there's anybody out there that wants to come on and share their story, let me know. We've still got some room for other people. Otherwise, You may have to listen to some.
Yeah, you'll listen to all of us tell a story.
Yeah.
Well, I might have got an answer on mine finally after all the years.
Yeah, last night. So,
which is what I thought it was, but I didn't know what it was called. What's he call it?
Harbinger.
Harbinger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then,
have you ever heard of that? Okay.
Oh, I'm sure she had.
So
it makes sense. That's kind of what I was thinking. It was something like that.
And then you can listen to me every Monday night at 7:00 Central on the Paranormal Pride pages, whether it's YouTube or Facebook, as well as here on the Bill of Rights Network. And my guest on Monday night is Reverend Mike Norton. He is going to be talking to you about spiritual warfare again. So, here we go. And go ahead, Carl, it's your turn.
Right. And everybody check out the Bill of Rights Network on Facebook. We have a pin post at the top, tells you all our shows. Check out Temple of Phoenix Rising Entertainment's Facebook page where we're live at tonight too. And check out Things Network, their Facebook page with all the paranormal shows on there. And I want to thank everybody that was in the chat rooms on Facebook that we couldn't see. Sorry about that. I have no idea what caused all that tonight. I'll have to investigate that part. But
you got a show at 8:00.
Yep, we got a show at 8:00 tonight. If you want some comedy and fun, you got to watch Conservative View.
Yeah, if you didn't get enough of Denise, she'll be on that tonight.
Yeah, they're doing a paradox of the liberals and conservatives. It's going to be hilarious. It's going to be hilarious. They're dressing up in parts.
Oh, I love it.
She's got Pelosi's scarf on.
Well, the lady they call the scarf.
Yeah, the scarf.
Doctor, whatever her name is.
That'll be coming up in an hour here on the Bill of Rights Network. So check that out. It's going to be hilarious. They're going to have 6 or 8 people on there tonight.
Yeah.
I think doing this whole show. It's going to be fun. So,
Dr. Scarf and Fauci, the COVID monsters.
But we want to thank everybody. I mean, like I said, if you got comments, send them to Denise or send them to the Bill of Rights Network, and we will get them sent to Farah. And Farah, thank you very much. You're welcome anytime on our show to come back.
Oh, thank you, Carl.
You're very welcome.
Look forward to seeing you guys all again soon.
Okay. So we're going to end the show right now, and we will see you next week here on Paranormal Nation Radio. Not so normal. Have a good night.
All right, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye.